so this might just be a quick, short story. But I felt I should type this anyway to get it off my chest. Because of Orion, I tell the story to who was there that day, never entirely believed me. The story takes place at a mall where the establishment just built a cute rubber playground. At the time, I was 6 years old and was simply enjoying playing in the area as my family was shopping only a few feet away. Then came a wrinkly-looking, tanned man with a long beard, skinny and balding. He approached a small Latino boy and began talking to him about cool toys he had in his van. Now, even at this time, I knew what stranger danger meant, but to my shame, I only stood there, shocked that this washup had more so when this boy was agreeing to follow him where he kept the toys. I remember thinking, is this boy really going with this man? Doesn't he know what stranger danger is? If that didn't make things worse, the boy was so excited that he went ahead to invite his brother around the same age as I am, and they went off together. I honestly didn't know what I could do. Run off and into this giant mall after them and get lost. If I told my mum what was going on, would she even believe me? Where were their parents? But as I stood there, watching them walk off together in the distance, so did the opportunity. I stopped playing and walked into the store where my mum was and told her in ashy voice what happened. I was struggling to find the words, but I told her along the lines of, "Hey, Mum, I saw something strange happen. I saw an ugly old man walk off with two boys, like the kind of men you warned me about on the news." She just looked at me and smiled, not seemingly to entirely understand. I pressed the issue more, but she only responded, "Don't worry, I'm almost done shopping for shoes." She proceeded tattering me with compliments and the kind of tone mums reserve for when they playfully talk to babies. But this only made me more distressed. I could feel the time to act slipping away. I remember telling her, "I'm serious. There was a creepy man over there talking to children." I pointed in the direction where they once stood. I remember watching her face attentively and seeing a flicker of understanding, but she brushed it off as doubt settled them. That was the end of that encounter. A few days later, I was watching the news with my mom and I saw the boys. I felt placed in the spotlight again on what to do, but I knew my mum would never take me seriously. I was only 6 and my family were illegals who wouldn't want to involve themselves with the police anyway. I asked my mum what she thought about those two boys, but she had no opinion because she wasn't paying attention to the TV anyway. I often look back with regret at what I could have done. Parents may teach their kids what to do when these into them, but I don't know what I could do as a witness. I felt as if I had done what I could do telling my mum, but I was too young in her eyes to be taken seriously. Screw that playground. By the way, I never ended up playing there after that incident. I'm 21 now, but I still see parents dropping off their kids there and shopping around Theria. What a dumb place to have anyway, as it only encourages such negligence. Guys, I'm editing this story years later as I've come to think about this post randomly a lot. I don't think YouKnown will see this, but on the odd chance that they do, I just want to clarify a few things. I want to say 1, I'm so damn sorry this is so badly written. Looking back at this makes me cringe a lot, and the litany of 2, I was really angry at my mother when I wrote this. The story is true. I and my mum had a lot of conflicted to this and my spiraling mental health. My mum had her issues. I had mine. She was a mother of 3, doing her best, in spite of her husband being gone for weeks at a time. She might as well have been single, really. While my mum got mad at me when I attempted to mention this to her, I have come to see she was dealing with a lot herself and just couldn't quite deal with it, if that makes sense. In recent years, we've come to find an understanding and have actually spoken about the incident. I do feel guilty for how angry I was at her. A lot of it was due to my own misconceptions and a certain terribly husband's manipulations. He might have been the one to be angry for me when I told him the story. But after hearing how I treated my mum, I see why she never told him. Anyways, that's all. I just wanted to put that down as it's bothered me for a while. To get this started, to some, it might not sound scary, but having a stranger press against you and block you from leaving is horrifying, especially when young. Normally, I try to cover for my mother, but as I've grown older, I kind of blame her a bit, especially after what she said. She just loves to invalidate her oldest daughter. I'd say I was around 8 at the time this took place. At the time, we had to get mail from Thepo's office in town, and so, seeing my mum get the mail, my brain decided, wow, I want to be cool and get the mail like mum. That childish need to prove that I was mature. Eventually, after begging time and time again, my mum let him get the mail, not of the actual story. I guess it was a weekend, as the post office was closed, but you could still grab mail. Just no people that worked there were there. I asked my mum if I could grab the mail Asway slowly pulled up outside the post office. She nodded yes and gave me the keys that had the mail key and a Feeway the loud and jingly keys. I jumped out of the old van and ran up the ramp to the building, avoiding the stairs completely. I opened the door and saw a lady and a man getting their mail, but turning to my side, I saw an older man sitting in the corner, staring at me. He gave me weird vibes, even as a kid, but still, I gave him a quick smile and wave. Bad move. The man smiled back, revealing his stained teeth. I walked past him and went to the mailbox. Me being me, though I forgot what key was what, and began fumbling awkwardly as the others grabbing mail left the building. After maybe 3 to 5 minutes of trying and failing, I finally unlocked it. I was so happy that I disregarded the man staring. As I grabbed the mail with a quick click of the lock, I closed the box and began to walk away. I found the gaze of the man as he looked at me, a crooked smile across his face. The look he gave still gives me chills to this day. Almost a decade later, I put my open hand against the door and began to push, where a pair of arms reached around me, one hand forcefully pulling the door shut and the other around the upper part of my chest like my collarbone, pulling me into a tight, unwelcome and horrible hug. I froze. What was I supposed to do? I was always taught to respect adults, and I did. He had a strong scent of alcohol in him, so much so that I think I coughed a few times. He began to speak after a moment of just holding me there. The words he spoke scared me so bad, but now I only remember part of what he said, and I wish I didn't. He said, hey, where are you going? He spoke almost passive-aggressively. Oh, I have to go. My mum is waiting for me. I stuttered. Oh, okay, he sounded defeated and began to let me go. Before I could break away, he held me tighter again, tighter than before. Wait, I have a dog, you know. He had that stupid grin on his face, that scary grin. Me, oh, that's cool. Yeah, and you should come with me, and you can play with him, he encouraged. The scary thing is, I almost went with him at that moment. The next maybe 8 minutes felt like hours as he let me go and pulled me back hard into him, his scruffy beard and soft, dirty coat brushing against me. The details make my head hurt to remember, but he kept telling me no, almost ordering me to go with him. Finally, he seemed to snap. All right, you're coming with me. What? But I need my mum. I have her keysond. She's waiting for me. Please. That was still my priority. Her keys and mail. Nope. You're calling with me now. He opened the door and began to pull me out. In a moment of his weakness, I broke away, running to my mom in her car. I slammed the door shut, scaring my brother and my mother. I began shaking and crying, dropping the mail on the car floor. I shakily picked it up and handed everything to my mom as she demanded to know what happened. I told her everything, and she looked pissed. I was so glad she was on my side. I looked outside, tears still streaming down my face, and noticed a man looking at me through the car window from the top ramp off the building. I began to cry harder and panic as he started coming over. My mum stopped me as she noticed him coming. What was her reason for thinking he was completely harmless? He fell at the bottom of the ramp and tripped. My mum laughed at the creep and started driving away while she tried to comfort, saying things like, he was a harmless old drunk man and he didn't hurt you. Now, years later, I brought it up to my dad when I was at his house. My parents divorced 3 years after this incident, thinking he knew, but my mum never told him, so he was angry. He was pissed my mum didn't come for me sooner and that she hadn't done more. I told him not to confront my mum on this, and he agreed. Now, not long after telling my dad, I brought it up to my mum. My mum said I was being a drama queen and that I would never get hurt, that he never tried anything. I was furious, but no, I don't know if I should be. I mean, I know drunk slurring, but this was almost spiteful and his tone was toning. My questions I'll leave off with are, what were his intentions, and am I right to be mad? I was nearly 13 years old and I was being raised by my grandparents. We lived in a little tourist town in Florida. They had problems with their 2 daughters as adults. My mother being the older of the two, and they wanted to do everything that they could to make sure that I didn't turn out the same way, a duva, if you will. So, needless to say, they were very strict. My aunt was having a good period. She had her stuff together. We were all very close. My aunt understood what it was like to be raised under a glass dome, metaphorically speaking, of course. There is her, too, after all. So, being as she was my only aunt, she made sure that the time we spent together was always super cool. I would stay over Saturday nights. We would go out and hang out at the pier, and she would let me hang out with my middle school boyfriend, who would always find ways to get wherever I was. My grandparents had no idea of any of these activities. Of course, I was just spending some quality time with my aunt and giving them a break. It was nice that I had a younger female figure since my mom wasn't around. One night when we were out having fun, my aunt met this guy and they really hit it off. He was very nice and introduced himself to me. He went by Junior and at first was Kindoff, charming and a talker. They exchanged numbers after hanging out a while, and then we went home and went to bed. They ended up going out a bit more, and my aunt had really liked Junior. He took her to his home and introduced her to his father and showed her around his land. He lived out in the woods in the middle of nowhere. I have lived in this town for 30 years, and I still to this day couldn't tell you where it is. I was only there once. He was teaching my Antho to shoot a gun. I remember her shoulder rocking back with the impact of the shot and surprising her. He had these weird Flamco dancing clothes in his closet. It was all seemingly harmless. I mean, everyone has their. About 10 days, maybe 2 weeks later, we were again at the pier, out by the payphones, talking about what to doff at night and what to get for dinner. Junior and my aunt were in their late 20s, early 30s, and as much as she loved me, I imagine there were times that I got in the way. Well, anyway, we were at Thepia, and he was talking about how he had these painkillers. He offered me one. I declined, of course, and told him that I had a high tolerance to pain anyway, and didn't need that stuff. He then, with a huge smile, asks me if he can see for himself, assuring me he won't really hurt me. He's just trying to have fun. This bastard twists my arm behind my back until I hear a pop. I start to cry, and he laughs and says, "Oh, sweetheart, I was only playing Hesed. He had a high tolerance. I guess I was stronger than I thought I was being. I'm sorry. No need to ruin the good time we're all having." I go in the private pier office, which my granddad managed, crying. My aunt comes in and lets me know that she thinks it's messed up too, and that she talked to him about it. She goes back outside and he asks her what she is up to that night. She tells him that she isn't sure if I'm staying over because of what just happened. I was whining about going home. I was pissed that she hadn't decked him right there for hurting me. Well, he tells her that she should meet him under, let's call it, the Sunset Bridge at 2 a.m. on the other side of town. He says the stars are beautiful and you can listen and hear the fish. He also tells her he would love to see it with her, and they can dance under the moon. We were all from a fishing family and lived in a fishing town, so fishing activities under the bridge at late times weren't necessarily something that threw up a red flag. If it's dark and late, there won't be people around hugging all the fish. She tells him maybe, and we leave. I decide to spend the night after all, later sneaking in only if she pick up my boyfriend Charlie, playing up on guilt points. Shekels him when she gets home before he made our arrangement about Charlie and says that she can come, but she'll have him with her. He groans and is like, fine, alright, I guess she can come. Maybe she'll get tired and sleep in the car. About an hour after she called Junior the first time, I asked her about Charlie and she agreed. She sits down with me and hugs me and touches my face lovingly, apologizing for what happened with my arm. My aunt was an amazing woman and I love her very much. She then calls him again and tells him not to worry. She's picking up Charlie, so I will have my own entertainment and they can have their time. He goes into a rag and starts bluttering and cussing about how it's too complicated now, and he just wanted an intimate meeting with her. Notre Dame family reunion. He went on about how he didn't want to have to babysit a 13-year-old kid and her 14-year-old boyfriend. He hangs up after calling her a crazy underscore. She bewilderedly hangs up the phone and tells me what happened. We go about our night with pizza rolls and PlayStation, and things are fine. Calls her a few more times and drives by the house for a couple of weeks, but my aunt was having none of it. After a while, he left her alive just as swiftly as he had come. The whole affair lasted only a month, if even that. 3 weeks maybe, and all in all, it wasn't the craziest experience she has had with the man. JR was soon forgotten, and we went about our business. Fast forward 2 years later, I'm almost out of middle school. My aunt had moved to a city about 40 miles away. I still live with my grandparents. They were still strict, but as they had gotten older, so had I. I knew a few ways around the rules. One day, my friend Frank and I missed the bus home from school and called our good high school friend Darla to pick us up and take us home. After riding a bit, she had this big, beautiful red truck, and I would ride around in the cab of it, loving the freedom in the wind. We were smoking cigarettes and laughing, listening to the radio. The time I would have spent on the bus before my stop was just enough time to hit up the Taka drive-thru. We cruised down the road a bit before heading back to Frank's and my separate houses. He lived just down the road. We had a lot of fun that day. She dropped me off first. My grandparents came outside and they were heavily confused at the sight of an unknown vehicle, and even more so when they saw I had gotten out of it after letting her be the one to explain. She was older, cooler, and more responsible. My parents thanked her for being kinder now to take me home. They said how lucky I was that she had just happened to be there to help me get home. The things we do to our grandparents. That was the last time we ever saw my friend. She didn't show up for work for 5 days. I can't speak for everyone, but I assume she had just run away. Dolla's parents were going through a nasty divorce. The dad had a hot new girlfriend, and the mother was very bitter about it. Rightfully so. I guess it was embarrassing for all the kids. Her truck wasn't left behind. I figured she got tired of her parents acting like infants and took off. I missed her, but she was in a whole other league of freedom and coolness. 16 is a whole different life than 14, especially when you are in different schools. I wished her well, maybe even a little envious that she got out of this town and I was still here. I hadn't heard anything for 2 weeks about her when, at about 9 o'clock at night, my grandparents got a phone call to turn on the news. Darla's body was found out in the woods. She had been strangled to death and just left out there. I don't even know for how long. I was devastated, but I was so joyful that I had that last experience with her, but also so saddened and horrified. She was so young, barely older than myself. She was about to be 17 in just a short time. It was a very sad time for our town. They're good, and the bad news is they caught the guy that had done it. He confessed after some very incriminating evidence, and during his questioning also confessed to killing his girlfriend, who had been missing for about 8 years, and also his father. When they showed his mugshot on the screen and said his name, I swear I almost passed out. There, clear as day, on screen, staring back at me, was a picture of Junior. I had no idea they knew each other. I can't even imagine what would have happened if we had gone under the bridge that night. Investigation Discovery Channel did a piece on it a couple of years back. I was shocked to see it on the TV. The memories came rushing back, and I decided to write them all down. I literally have a newfound appreciation of life now that I'm old enough to understand just how close he could have been to being killed. My aunt lived on to make awesome new memories with me. I have a beautiful life now with my husband and 3 boys that most likely wouldn't have happened if things had gone differently that night.